What's up, everybody? I'm Caleb Ochoa, also known as NFL Caleb 22. This is Betting the NFL Week 1. I'm with my co-host, Derek Weatherly, also known as DWeezy. What's going on, man?
Not much. Football's back, baby.
Hell yeah. Football's back, and that means betting season is back, and we're ready to make some money on this season. Um, Last year, when I started this, doing my articles, doing this show, um, you know, I I learned a lot doing it last year. I learned a lot from doing this show with Derek. I'm hoping to get back to it, start winning, be better than I was last year. Take what I learned. Also the fact that last year, I started off pretty hot. I went into like a very very cool streak, but then I finished off well in the playoffs. Especially in the Super Bowl, went 5 for 5 on my Super Bowl bets. Basically, went perfect on that. I hope to continue that this season. I hope we can, me and Derek, can both help y'all win some money this year. It's gonna be fun, man. How did you do last year, and what do you think you can improve on this year?
Um, last year for me ended up being a little bit rough. Had a pretty decent start to things, but for the most part went cold. But in something like this, where we're telling you the viewers, how to bet or how to, at a certain point, it was you fade whatever I'm saying. Like, this is who I got for tonight. Go the other way. Go the other way. But yeah, definitely looking to turn things around because sometimes it can be the luck of the draw. Last year, uh, I can recall there being a moment in the opening game to the season. We had the Bucks in Tampa last year to kick things off, I believe, and late in that fourth quarter, I believe it was Tampa driving. There was a fumble inside the red zone and near the end zone, something along those lines. But it seriously shifted the outcome of the game from a spread standpoint. So there's definitely those key moments where you can handicap a game perfectly and things still not work out in your favor.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, we can start off this season, this week with the winning week. This season with the winning week. But this week we got an unusual week. There's 10 games that feature a road favorite. That's the most home dogs in one week since 1978. Um, yeah, it's like I was talking with you last week about, and I asked you about how much home field advantage is a factor still. About getting the 3 points automatically. This week it doesn't seem too much of a home field. It wasn't too much of a factor in these point spreads. What do you think about that?
Um, you know, that's definitely a hell of a stat right there. I'm just looking over the lines myself, and something that stood out to me, something I noticed. Even a team like the Rams, they're not a favorite at home. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just something like that. It could have something to do with it just simply being the beginning of the season and the sports books not having a firm grasp on these teams, or potentially haven't fully committed on what they feel, um, how the season will develop, how teams will develop, how things will fall on the schedule as far as wins and losses. So it's definitely something interesting for people to pay attention to. And if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, I think last year, the underdogs ended up working out a lot
Yeah,
from a
I
week
was
to
just
week
I was just
standpoint.
about to get to that. The in the week one, the favorites went 4-12 against the spread. Um, so yeah, the underdogs were and even for the early part of the year, the underdogs were winning a lot in those games. I think even road teams win a lot of games as well. So we'll see if that happens again this year. Um, there are 7 games with point spreads of 3 points or less, with the biggest one being just 7 points. So that's something to look out for. So hopefully, yeah, we'll just get into our picks and we'll how the show is going to work for the whole season. We have five of our most confident bets. Um, we'll each take turns. With our five picks, we might also get into some. I have some over and unders. Derek has some other bets that he likes other than that. But that's pretty much the formula of the show, and we'll be with you all for the rest of the season up into the Super Bowl. But I'll start with my pick, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 6.5 at Cincinnati. Uh, by getting to the Super Bowl, the Bengals, I think, are going to be overvalued this year. The reason why I think they're going to be overvalued because they got really lucky last year. I think they got hot at the right moment, definitely in the playoffs, but they got lucky too. They got lucky both in that wild card in that divisional round. I don't think this team is world beaters. I think last year they were undervalued. That's why I picked them a lot last year, and I was hitting on those bets when I was picking them because they were undervalued. But this year, I think it's the opposite. I think they're overvalued by getting by making that big run to the Super Bowl. And I think it shows here. That's a big spread for a divisional game um, against a tough opponent like the Steelers. I think Trubisky will be more mobile than Big Ben was last year. He'll be even, they have problems on their offensive line. I think Trubisky will be able to extend the plays a lot better than Roethlisberger because he just couldn't move. He'll have good weapons with them. He has Harris, he has Claypool, he has Johnson, he has Pickens to help him out with that. And the Bengals, obviously they have like a lot of talent on offense, and I openly do think they will win this game, but I just can't see them winning by a whole touchdown, especially in an individual game like this. And under Mike Tomlin, the Steelers are 14-6 as a divisional road dog. I like getting the points here against the Bengals. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this game?
I'm actually on the opposite side of this spread. I
Okay.
do agree with you on a lot of things, like the Bengals being overvalued from a season aspect. But coming into this game, I do feel the Steelers offense will struggle against the defense of the Bengals, especially being able. I expect that we'll see a stronger run defense out of a team like the Bengals. I won't necessarily go, say they'll be a top 5 or top 10 or try and put that label on them, but we're definitely talking about top half of the league, probably see somewhere hovering around that top 10, top 12 range. But I with the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh, you know, I have no. I can't put faith in, regardless of which quarterback they're walking out there. Yes, like you said, they do have weapons in the wide receiver core, but the question is going to be how well can they get them the ball? How well can they potentially get them into space with a first year quarterback in the system that they're running in Pittsburgh? So that being said, I do feel the Bengals have a chance to come in. I wouldn't expect them. I'm not expecting them to win by 2 touchdowns or it being a blowout, but I think it's very possible that they win this game by 9, 10 points.
Yeah, but yeah, one of the weaknesses of the Bengals last year was offensive line. They did a lot to rebuild the offensive line, but I think it takes time to build cohesion with an offensive line. They have to play together and have a lot of reps together. So I just don't see them automatically starting. This is a great offensive line from the beginning, and you're going against a defense that has T.J. Watt. They're pretty good on defense overall. The Steelers are. They have the new defensive coordinator Brian Flores. I think he's going to bring a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow. It's going to make him tough. That's why I think it's going to be a closer game um, than the point spread suggests. Um, yeah, and then I just like I said, I still think the Bengals will pull it out. I just think that's too many points for this game. But we'll get to my second pick, which is the Philadelphia Eagles at Detroit Lions plus 3.5. I like the Lions here. The Lions were competitive all season last year. Um, they feed off a lot of the energy that Dan Campbell gives off. That's what keeps them competitive. I think the Eagles are just a lot of hype, and not much substance there. Everybody like them to win the division or be a dark horse in NFC or all that. Just I see, I saw the moves all that they made in the offseason. I get it, but they still have one problem, the biggest problem, which is Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I mean, the NFL teams are going to have a full season of tape on him, and just like the Bucks did, the Bucks had one full season to look at Jalen Hurts, and what they do, they crushed him in the playoffs. He was ineffective against that, and I think this and other teams can do that as well. They can see where he can't make throws, and even the Eagles know where he can't make all throws because they wouldn't run the ball so much as they do. I think the Lions are an improving football team. They have really good talent on the offensive side of the ball. They got St. Brown and they got DJ Shark and they got a good running back and DeAndre Swift, solid quarterback with Jared Goff. Yes, their defense is their weakness. That's why they picked the number 2 overall pick with Aiden Hutchinson. I think he can provide some help there. Get some pressure on Hurts. Stop him. In that run game that they rely on so much. And the Eagles are 1-4-1 against the spread in the last 6 games against the NFC, and 2-5 in the last 7 against the spread against the Detroit Lions. So ultimately, I'll take the points at home. They're a home dog. I like taking that. So yeah, I got the Lions in this one. What do
Yeah,
you
I
think?
definitely like this Lions pick. I'm not on it personally, but I have said how in when we were recapping and going over game total wins, I like this team to cover their 6.5 wins on the season and go to the over. And I think that this was a team that was on the border of winning a lot of games last year, and their record can be very misleading. As you said, they've been able to put a number of pieces into place that have the potential. We may not necessarily be talking a playoff team, but this team definitely could border on getting 8-9 wins this season if things fall the right way. Um, and even on the shorter side of that, they still are strongly a 6-7 win team on the season because that's where you see the books putting the number because the number was 6.5, which might have shocked a lot of people, just traditionally being that it's the Detroit Lions. Now, a play I will be on. Sort of similar how your outlook on that Bengals game. Yeah, I'm gonna be riding with the New York Jets +7 against Baltimore. In that game, I think
Okay.
Baltimore will win outright, most likely, but it's going to be a question of how many points do they put up. This is a team that I don't feel has really done much to build up their offense and to secure their offense. And yes, they have some weapons in players like Andrews and Bateman, but Bateman's still unproven. You have a lot of injury concerns in the running back position. You see free agent veteran signings to fill that depth at that position. And, yes, Lamar Jackson can go out there and win games by himself and elevate this team to another level, regardless of who is around him. But we also saw last year, before he went down with injury, there were a number of games where they might have won the game, but it was not in a convincing fashion just based off the view of the scoreboard.
So you like the Jets and the points?
Yes, I'll be taking the +7 with the Jets.
Yeah. I actually like the other side. I guess I'm the opposite of you on those 2 games right there. Uh, I just don't see with the Jets. I actually, it's not one of my picks because I'm not I'm not confident in it. That's why I didn't pick it. But I do like the Jets. I mean, I like the Ravens in that to put it on them, mostly because I just don't see any talent at the quarterback position, and they're going to be without Zach Wilson. They have Joe Flacco starting. I don't think he's going to really be that effective against the Ravens defense. And I don't think they'll be able to stop Lamar. Yeah, they have problems with their receivers, obviously, but I just don't think that that'll matter too much in this matchup. So that I like the Ravens to at least win by 10 points. But I'll get to my next pick, which is the Kansas City Chiefs at Arizona Cardinals, getting +6. And every year the Cardinals seem to start off hot and cool off towards the end of the season, as is Cliff Kingsbury's reputation. I like the Cardinals here getting 6 points. I think this is again, the Chiefs were overvalued last year, and me and you both were picking against them a lot, and we were hitting on those bets because they had a bad record
I was
against the
gonna
spread.
say that's if memory served correct. Yeah, we were both fading KC pretty hard, and there was a number of weeks where that paid out.
Yeah, and I feel the same way this year. I think they're overvalued once again. Even more so because I think honestly they were better last year than they are this year. Um, and Patrick Mahomes going to be without Tyreek Hill. They lost Tyrann Mathieu on the defensive side. They already have a mediocre defense to begin with. I just don't see how they give the Cardinals, who are a really good team. They're a really good team. You got 6 points at home. Like that's just that baffles me right there. Um, yeah, the Cardinals missing DeAndre Hopkins. That's why they went out and traded him for Marquise Brown. They still got Rondale Moore over there as well. Kyle Murray's leading the pack. Um, I just can't see how they're almost a touchdown underdog at home. That doesn't make sense to me. That's why when I saw this money, I jumped all over the Cardinals. Um, Also, the in the early struggles of the Chiefs were shown in against the spread when they went 1-4 in the month of September. I think that continued. I think he'll have again some struggles at the beginning of the year, and that record will continue this year. And honestly, I think the Cardinals beat them. I really do think the Cardinals can beat them outright.
So I think the real question is, do you think Kyler Murray is doing his homework?
Uh, that's a good question. Well, he hasn't been doing his homework, his whole
That I
career. So
mean,
I mean,
that was the perception built by the clause put in that deal. I mean, and nobody came out to deny that that was the perception.
he didn't
Kyler
even deny
Murray,
it. He
yeah, I was
literally
gonna
didn't deny
say,
it.
yeah. If anything, he said those that are saying that I never do any film study, like I forget how he put it because he did put it well.
He
Because
named all of the other stuff that he does. He works hard.
oh yeah,
He's
but
did all these,
just the simple fact, like he said,
but he never said I
to
study
think
hard
he
or
got to
anything.
the NFL playing quarterback without ever doing film study. Like, if you think he's that naturally talented, like, yeah, like, I'd be like, wow, that's a compliment right there. Like you got to
No,
be something incredible. But yes, I definitely agree with you on a lot of the points that you're making. I feel that, especially early on, we could see this Kansas City team be a strong fade. I don't have their schedule in front of me, but a team like the Cardinals, where they have a chance of coming out hot, um, that lack of film and being able to not necessarily come in with something new, but something not necessarily that they saw the year before, because you do have to play without DeAndre Hopkins because of suspension, and that means the offense is going to operate slightly different. Yes, they brought in Hollywood Brown, who, he was a number one in Baltimore. Some may make the argument he's not a number one across the league, but you can do that with a lot of different players. But he is a player that has flashed abilities to be a threat on the field. So I agree. That the Kansas City Chiefs, their defense has been falling off the past couple of years, and we did not see them do much to improve this defense. If anything, we saw this team make a move to build for the next 2-3 years, not this year. And
Yeah.
this might be a year to be able to capitalize on the Chiefs' shortcomings.
All right. Want to go to your next take?
All right. Let me see. Me, I'm gonna be game I was looking at. We have Tennessee Titans taking on the Jets. I mean, not the Jets, New York Giants.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why I was targeting this game, I just from a defensive standpoint, the Giants aren't going to be able to stop the Tennessee Titans on offense, and the Titans have the type of offense where if they get a 10-point lead, they could grind out most of the second half of the game and potentially win a game 17-6, 17-7, and cover that 5.5 spread. Um, I honestly have no clue why they would have a 5.5 spread against the Giants because you could potentially see Derrick Henry go out there and score 2 rushing touchdowns, and this New York Giants offense might not put up a touchdown. I mean, honest question.
Possible.
If you put the Iowa offense from college football up against the Giants offense, how long until a touchdown is scored?
It's hard to say. I mean, they're not very good. They don't have really much talent on the receiving end, and definitely obviously
We
the
might
quarterback.
it might have the first quadruple overtime, tied 0-0, 3-3. But yes, so to say that the Titans are only a 5.5 point favorite coming into this game, um, I believe it is on the road, but on the road or not, I mean, I'd almost feel comfortable playing the Titans spread in this scenario all the way up to 8, 9.5 in that range. Anything under 10 points.
Yeah, this game was definitely a consideration to me. I mean, we only have 5 picks. I just like the my other four a little more than that one, but that was definitely one I was gonna take. I do like the Titans. I think they're yeah, I definitely think you can beat them by more than five. Beat the Giants more than five. So I do like that pick. But for my last one, oh no, for my fourth one, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at my Dallas Cowboys plus 2.5. Um, like I think again with the home field advantage. I mean I can't believe we're not. It's not even put as a factor. Like we don't get a field goal. Like I can't see the Buccaneers being that much better than we are. We're both have similarities. And a banged up offensive line. We have a banged up receiver. You know they have Godwin hurt. That we have Gallup hurt. Tom Brady's been away from the team for a little bit. He hasn't built that chemistry with Julio Jones and Russell Gage, nor more importantly, he hasn't built that chemistry with the center. And those snaps, I mean, if he fumbles a snap, that could be a big game changer if he doesn't have that repertoire with the center. Um, because I mean, starting center is hurt. That's going to be a problem with the pressure in the middle. He won't be able to step up and make the throws that he wants to. Um, and also, he's not going to be able to just run away from him because he's a 45-year-old man, and he
Hold up,
doesn't
hold up, hold
and he's
up.
too
Tom
good
Brady
fast.
ain't never ran in an NFL game in his life. And
Yeah,
man still ain't ran a 40-yard dash,
well,
regardless
that's
of
what I'm
what
saying.
videos you might have seen.
Like I said, top of that, he's 45, not going to be able to move out of the pocket to really do anything. So I think we're going to put a lot of pressure on him. I think as he's going up against their weakest, problem is their line. Our strength is our defensive line. We have the most depth on our defensive line. All of our guys are healthy. Um, so I think I mean we have Demarcus Lawrence and Mike Parsons leading that charge. I mean we're going to be after Brady a lot. Dak is fully healthy. He's not coming off an injury like he was last year against them. He's not going to be as hesitant to when our line breaks down. He won't be as hesitant to run the ball as he was last year. You know, he was kind of worried about his ankle or whatever he was worried about. Um, we won't have that problem this season. This time around, we're at home this time around. I mean, that's a major factor. We should have won last week. We should have won on that road. Uh, we got a bad, missed field goal, bad no offensive pass interference call. But ultimately, we should have won that game. We also have a healthy Zeke and Pollard. Um, that our offensive line is obviously we're banged up, but we're better run blocking than we are pass blocking, and so that's how we win this game is by running the ball. And if we can use Zeke and Pollard, um, uh, often in this game, then that's going to be a strength. And all we have to do is grind it out, keep Brady off the field, and that'll be the key to winning. Also, another factor that comes into play is Cavante Turpin. He's a guy that can change game in one play. He can take it back to the house. He can change field position for us. Um, that can be an X factor in the game. And I also think all we do is stop their run game. Fat Leonard Fournette. And if we just do that, we can force Brady to pass it. Make them one dimensional, and then Micah and company just go after him. Because last year it was kind of a passing fest. I mean, both teams gave up on the run, and then it just led to that high scoring affair. I think it'll be lower scoring this time around. And yeah, I think we're going to continue to be good against the spread. We were the best team in the league against the spread last year, and I think we'll be good again. So that's why I mean, yeah, I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh, I'm a homer," but I just look at all the facts here and see that the Cowboys should win this game. How you felt about the
Um,
Cowboys' chances?
I definitely agree that it's a close game. I mean, it's priced where I feel that it should be. I'm actually seeing a -2.5 as far as the current number on the Tampa Bay Dallas game.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it could very well be a field goal game. As you said, both these teams are banged up in the wide receiver core. We might see both teams try to lean more on that run game and take pressure off the offensive line because that if you have the right coaches and you know how to scheme and how to utilize the run game, it can help take that pressure off one side of the offensive line and things like that in the right moments. And as you mentioned, Brady hasn't missed a nice chunk of camp, which especially in this first game, could end up rearing its ugly head. In the first half, I would not be shocked if some people wanted to specifically target a first half spread or potentially first half money line in this game, going with the Cowboys. But being the slight underdog and the spread being as little as it is, me personally, I'd rather jump on the money line. I'm seeing currently plus 121. Being able to
Yeah.
get that that plus number, and we're basically talking about a field goal game.
And what side would you be on?
Oh, I'd be taking the Cowboys.
Okay, okay. Got you there. What you on your fourth pick?
I believe so. Yes, I'm actually gonna go in. You say you might get accused of being a homer. I might get accused of being a homer here, but I also thought it was very interesting with my Carolina Panthers and their matchup with the Cleveland Browns. We saw back when matchups were first released, and a lot of places putting out a week 1 matchup and spread. This game was about a 5-6 Cleveland Browns favorite. -5-6. I think I maybe saw 6.5. Um, you go and look today, Panthers -1. That shows you just how much of a swing you can potentially see. For those out there, they got a +7, +6, +5 on the Panthers. Bravo to you, because that is a perfect example of how line movement and things can shift. And it also says what Vegas and the books are thinking about these two teams. That being said, to be able to get the Panthers. I say -1. You can definitely hit this on the money line if you want. Because they're technically the favorite, depending on what the odds are looking like, you might actually see less juice in that spread scenario. I was just, I think, just trying to pull it up real quick as far as the money line where I had it. But yeah, it's definitely as I said, the way with as much movement that has occurred with this spread already, I would not be shocked to see maybe another point or maybe it just go down straight to a pick 'em. Um yeah, money line minus 125, you take that minus 1 on the spread, it's minus 120.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Panthers as well. Um, the only reason why I couldn't pull the trigger, I just did not know how Baker Mayfield was going to gel. Ultimately, I need to see it at least for a couple of weeks for me to feel confident betting on him, especially against a good the Browns. Yeah, they don't have a quarterback, obviously, but they still have really good defense. So I just couldn't pull trigger on the Panthers, even though I do like them and against them to beat them. I think yeah, Baker Mayfield will get whatever revenge that he's looking for. But yeah, I do like the Panthers in that game. And so we'll go with my last pick, which is the Denver Broncos minus 6.5 at the Seattle Seahawks. Um, again, this is another one of those revenge games that featured Russell Wilson going up against the Seattle Seahawks, his former team that he won Super Bowl with. I think all the frustrations that he had with the Seahawks, all that conflict that what he thought they weren't doing for him or did not doing or not doing for him. I think that's all going to come to a head. I think he's going to take that all out on the Seahawks. I think it's going to be really bad. I think it's going to be like Monday Night Massacre. Um, Obviously, as you know, I've been pretty high on Russell Wilson and the Broncos this whole off season. I think it starts with this game. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be a blowout. To be honest, the Seahawks don't have really much going for them. Not a lot of talent on that team. Honestly, I think they're tanking this year to try to get a better quarterback in that
You mean
draft.
Geno Smith isn't the answer?
Nah, nah. That's a given clue that they are tanking this season. They don't want to win. They're not gonna win. They're gonna get slaughtered in this one. This is probably my most confident pick of the week. Yeah, they're going on the road and laying 6.5. That might give you some hesitation, but you don't. I don't think you should have any hesitation of picking the Broncos. Just killing the Seahawks and on this one.
Yeah, I know a certain lady you probably making smile real big right now with taking the Broncos, and me honestly, have to be right there with you because, as you said, there's little to look at with this Seattle team that gives you much hope as far as the outcome on the season, or even when you start looking at some of the game matchups. Um, can Tyler Lockett continue to produce at the level he has, even though he's starting to get up there in years? Do we see Metcalf try to push his way out of Seattle here in the next year or two, given the state of the organization and the current roster? Um, we saw them trade their franchise quarterback and essentially didn't even try and get a legitimate placeholder in return. And that's clearly shown by the fact that the person that they added to their roster at the QB position through that trade is now the backup to Geno Smith, who was the backup
Mhm.
to Russell Wilson. So you're basically starting a backup as your starter. Yeah, I'll be riding with the Broncos. There's a lot of things that seem to be trending in a positive direction with the team. Yeah, that winning by a touchdown. I think more or less the question is going to be, so how many points does Seattle put up? Uh,
Yeah.
you could see Russ get out there and start cooking, and maybe this Broncos offense puts up 27, 30 points. Can Seattle put up more than 20 points? I'm gonna be highly shocked if they do.
Yeah, I mean, I think coming in with a new head coach, I think Daniel Hackett and Russell Wilson will start off pretty well together. Um, obviously off season we've heard that he's centering the offense around his strengths, doing giving a playbook that he likes. Um, so I just don't. I see it starting off hot with the Broncos. The Broncos all they needed last year was some good quarterback play, and they would have been a better team. I think they had, always had a good defense. And obviously they had the three pretty good receivers and two pretty good backs. So I like them a lot in this one. But yeah, on your last pick.
Yeah, I have a couple player props that I'll be playing. One that's correlated back to one of my picks earlier. You heard me talking about the Tennessee Titans and how I think this team, there's a strong chance that they get a lead and they lean more into that run game. And something I'm gonna be playing is the Derrick Henry rushing yards over 98 and a half, basically saying that he goes for 100 yards, which I think is highly likely, and especially since we see play. I know Kayvon Thibodeau, he will be out for this game. They likely won't see him back until week 3, week 4, maybe. Um, as I said, we could easily see this team get up by 7 points, 10 points. Mid third quarter, lean into that run game more, drag out that clock. I definitely like the potential for Henry to get the over there. And we've also, seen, even though he's that bruiser runner, he still has that ability to break off 30, 40, 50-yard runs. So even if it doesn't lead to a touchdown from a rushing aspect, if the person, you taking it over with, if they're consistently getting 5, 6, yards of carry, making positive carries, and they have that potential for a big chunk play, that always makes that over a live possibility. And then another player prop that I'll be on that I think is even more live now than say a few days ago, just with some of the news we've heard come out of the LA Rams about Van Jefferson and his status for this coming Sunday. I'm going with the over 7.5 receptions for Cooper Cup. We saw all through last season he was the number one guy Stafford wanted to go to. And
Yeah.
in many cases, Cup backed up the attention by hauling in pretty much any and everything thrown his way. So I do not feel that this will become like a one man show, but to only have the number at 7.5 when you're potentially talking about their starting slot receiver not being ready to go. One, you may see Cup move into the slot some, which could also lead for, big play capabilities. But as well, you will see, I think, more targets throughout the game, which of course is going to lead to the potential for more receptions. So I'm going to be riding with the over 7.5 there as well.
All right. I got some over unders. My first over under is Cowboys versus Bucks. I got under. Like I said before, I think it's going to be a more run heavy game, more grinded out game. It's under
I
50 and a
definitely
half.
could see that happening.
Um, so I like that. Raiders and Chargers. I take the over 52. Obviously, we saw a big back and forth last season. I think it just, I think it'll be the same way. Two high powerful offense with a lot of weapons and good quarterbacks on each side. Um, I see both teams scoring a lot of points there. And got the Colts and Texans on the under. Uh, Kind of for the opposite reason because I don't see a lot of talent on their offenses on either side of the ball. Matt Ryan just getting used to his new team.
Well,
Davis
and
Mills,
again,
those,
you're talking about another team that's going to lean a lot into their run game this season, and the
yeah,
Colts could definitely be one of those teams where they get up by, you know, 10 points, 2 scores, lean into that run game and grind it out.
absolutely. Steelers Bengals. I actually do think it'll go over the 44 and a half. Obviously, like I said, we both talked about the weapons that each of those teams have. I think both teams will be able to score a lot of points, and I think like I said, it's going to be a close game, and I think it'd be a high scoring one as well. And then for my last one, I got the Browns versus Panthers, and I got the under 42.
You're a
Like I
smart
said, Baker,
man. Smart man.
Baker just just arrived, still getting used to the playbook and his his new team. Same with Jacoby Brissett. Both will have struggles trying to get used to new offenses that to learn. Um, yeah, so I don't see a lot. I don't see a lot of points scored in that game either.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
definitely think I'm right along there with you for
all right.
most of those. I think that the Raiders Chargers game has the potential to look more like a Pac-12 game than an NFL game.
You know,
That could easily end up being a score where honestly both teams could hit the high 30s, maybe low 40s. We see 4 or 5 touchdowns on both sides of on the scoreboard. So yeah, I definitely think that's one where the over could definitely be a live play. And then as I was saying, with that Carolina game, yeah, I definitely feel the under is the way to go. With the Carolina offense, I'm not, I don't share the excitement behind what they have. Yes, there's a couple good pieces, but it's can CMC stay healthy? You know what can Baker do with DJ Moore coming into the regular season? Their projected number 2 wide receiver is currently not. I don't know his current status, but it is injured. He may be on the pup list. I don't believe it is looking like an IR situation, but you know, we saw a whole lot of drops out of Robbie Anderson last year. Do those continue? So there's a lot of vulnerability in that matchup, I believe, for the under to come in.
all right. I think that'll wrap up our week 1 talk for now. We'll get into the question portion of the show, and if you have a question, just leave it down in the comments, and we will feature it on this part of the show. Uh, yeah, next week or whenever you leave the comments. Um, but my question for you is it's more of a, I guess, more of a discussion point, um, and that's about gambler's fallacy, and that is, when a series of wins happen or just a series of any streak going, some gamblers think, oh, it's not going to last forever, so I might as well bet the other way. And I think, that can't be just a law of averages that, things will always even out. And that's not the case. Gamblers lose that way. Um, just because something keeps going and there's a streak happening or there's trends happening doesn't mean you should go the other way. I usually don't do that. I usually keep going with the trend until it burns itself out. Um, and that doesn't even mean that the trend will go the other way or there'll be a new trend. It'll still, it just means maybe there's a one win here or loss there. Um, Ultimately, things don't even out. Trends can continue, and they stop for a little bit, and then they continue on. Uh, it's always like an even odds of the situation every single week. It's a new odds that week. You can't focus on what
Exactly.
really happened.
Yes,
So
that's
I
what
just
a
want
lot
you
of
to your thoughts
people.
on that.
I was gonna say that's what a lot of people overlook is yes, trends are a great thing to have handy. They are great to know and to keep, readily available when you are breaking down some of these games and handicapping some of these games. But what people forget is, and especially, like what you and me do, we're handicapping each game essentially. We're looking at each game and trying to determine what we think is going to occur and what we think is most likely to happen. So yes, there may be a trend where this team has done this 7-0 times versus this statistic. That's great to know. That doesn't mean it's going to come in this time. Now, yes, that could be a big reason behind why you did select, say, this team to win specifically, but that's how you're handicapping the game. Now, if you're playing more by luck, then yes, you can expect it to end abruptly at some point. But if you're actually handicapping the games, looking, and it doesn't have to be a in-depth analysis. You can look at a game, give a quick handicap and breakdown of it, make a slight analysis, and go off of that. But you're still viewing each individual game in its own vacuum before just going, okay, this is what they did the last 6 times. This is what they did the last 10 times. I'm in the middle, well, towards wrapping up the baseball season in betting, and that's essentially the motto there. Every game is its own individual game. Over the course of this long season, yes, this really good team is playing this really bad team, but guess what? This really bad team still might beat this really good team.
Yeah. So hopefully that helps you guys out. We help you guys out. If you guys can help us out, and you can like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Um, but Derek, you can tell the people where they can find you at.
Yes, folks, y'all can reach me at Backyard Action Media, where, as I said, currently I've been dropping a lot of MLB betting content. I will also be going into the NFL, uh, likely here in the next day or two. So if you're already liked and subscribed into my channel, just keep your eyes open and you will start seeing some NFL props and game totals and spreads coming through as we get closer to Sunday. And you can also reach out to me at DWeatherly90 on Twitter.
All right. You can find me at NFL Caleb 22 on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me on this channel on Good Friends Battle Rivals on Mondays with Ferris. You can also find me doing on Sundays doing House of Dragon reviews right after it airs. Just not this week because there's Cowboys game this week, so that'll be on Monday night the next week. But most of the time it will be right after the show airs. Also, you can find my articles that go along with this show on our website. That's letsgetreadynetwork.com. So go check all that out. And yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun this year. We're gonna make a lot of money, and hopefully you guys can come and tell us you took some of our advice, and say that you want some money on one of our picks, because that's all we're trying to do. That is the goal of the show: win you guys money and win us some money. So like I say, let's get ready to make some money.